So to start off, I'd like to introduce the Persistent Universe Town Hall panel. So the guy at the podium, his name is Jason Hudgens. And then we've got Tony Zurovec to Chris's left there. And then we've got Mark Skelton being Mark Skelton. And then Chris right in the middle, and that is the panel. Since this is a total summarization of PAX South Star Citizen, I'm going to bring back some of the most important information from Part 1, which I've already put out on YouTube. I'll probably recall that after this video. But one important piece of info that has changed is that players will now be able to carry their weapons into landing zones. This is an attempt to increase player freedoms while visiting PlanetSide. Also, if nothing unexpected could ever happen in some landing zones, it would get pretty boring. But don't worry, there will be security in these places, and some places will be more heavily guarded than others, and some places will have turrets that are so accurate and paying attention so closely that as soon as you pull your gun out to cause trouble, they'll tase you and you'll wake up in hospital, and you'll have paid a fine, and you probably won't be allowed back in that spaceport for a certain period of time. So all things to think about, and that's also a part of their anti-griefing system as well. And stealing will also be a thing while PlanetSide, but they're still ironing the details of that out. Alright, some of the coolest information that was released at PAX South was about jump points. So it turns out that jump points will actually slowly phase out. They're not permanent. This indicates that jump points are kind of finicky methods of travel. They'll stay up for a while, but eventually you'll have to go and find more and remap them and navigate them, which gives explorers and professional jump point navigators a sense of job security, which is nice to have, and also keeps the universe interesting. So I'm a big fan of that. Failing a jump point will cause the ship to be ejected into either the starting system or the end system with a certain amount of damage. And those of you who are thinking, well, why not get spit out in between and kind of be stranded? The answer to that is because jump points are more like really awesome loading screens that you can make money off of in the game. Yeah, so they've got to phase out the environment you were in to begin with, and then load the next system, right? So you jump from one system to another. They've got to load that next system. So that's what the jump point is, and this is the coolest loading screen I think I've ever had the pleasure of watching a demo of, and I'll show that video in just a second. Got a few more points of info for you guys. And as you'll see from the video, jump points are dynamic environments while flying inside, right? So these professional jump point navigators are going to have to really be on their toes while they're inside. And like we've discussed before, jump points are of different sizes, so like capital ships can't fit through a jump point if you know it's only big enough for like a single seater, or maybe even a space motorcycle. But here, check out this video. It's awesome.
Yeah, don't screw up, because you'll die.
Okay. So, and let's see it again. On the other side now. Yeah. And you'll see how like the different like vortexes warp in as you're going around. So those will all be things you'll have to avoid as you're flying through in the jump point. So clearly Crash Roberts wasn't flying this. He was not, no. Someone has to be good. Or actually paying attention to where he's flying instead of trying to talk to the audience.
And one more thing that I want to touch on about jump points real quick is the jump point relays. There are these Mark Skelton calls them pigeons, where there's a machine on either side of a jump point that sends tiny pigeon bots through the jump point and uses navigation information that's on record by the UEE to send information through. So they load one of these pigeon bots up with info and then send it through the jump point and take it to the relay station on the other side, and then that relay station broadcasts it into that system, which is pretty awesome. A few things that I'd like to mention, even though there aren't any cool little visual snippets for these topics here, are transitory events, which will be shown on the star map along with other points of interest and commodity information. So transitory events are things found in passing by travelers, like derelict ships or other kinds of wreckage, or an asteroid belt, mining location. Travelers find them, record their location, and then they could, if they wish, sell this information to a public information broker. And then after that, the information will be made public, and then it will be put on the star map, which is how that works. Distress signals will also be viewable on the star map. Duh. Alright, once you engage your quantum drive, which is warp, you are not guaranteed to reach your destination point. Battles, pirates, meteor showers, mini black holes, which is an interesting idea, and pretty much any obstruction along or near your path can knock you out of warp. By the way, cool info here. Warp speeds are around 0.2 times the speed of light, which turns out to be about 60 million meters per second. So you're like, 0.2 times speed of light? That's nothing. Or that's nothing. Like, it's actually not nothing, because 60 million is a whole freaking lot. And it takes about 30 to 40 seconds for the quantum drive to spin up and initiate warp speed. So if you're taking fire and you think you can take that fire for 30 to 40 seconds, by all means go for it, but I don't think you'll last very long. It was pointed out that the persistent universe is extremely complex and seems like it has the potential to get out of control. Chris Roberts replied by saying, "We basically have a simulation that will run the universe separate from what everyone else is playing. This means that the economy is predicted pretty accurately ahead of time." This is all talking about the economic module, or the economy module. It's not a one-to-one prediction due to player interactions, but players are speculated only to account for 10% of the persistent universe economy. This process should theoretically give CIG a bit of a buffer between what they are expecting and what the players are experiencing. A good way of thinking about the economy simulator slash economy module is like a big fancy procedural mission generator that acts in ways that will keep the economy somewhat stable. And I'd like to give a quick update on the social module, which we got a lot of information about. It will release hopefully sometime in April with the following features: multiplayer hangars, a contact list in your Mobiglass, in-game chat, the ArcCorp planet-side environment shown in the first PU demo, which you actually saw earlier in this video, shopping with your Mobiglass, augmented reality within the ArcCorp environment, and a SimPod in your hangar with integrated arena commander and FPS lobby. Just freaking wow. So now I would like to play a few clips where they introduce some shops.
So yeah, Astro Armada is kind of a upscale, kind of a Ferrari dealership. I mean, we're still kind of working on this. You guys are seeing Whip for sure, but
Well, it's not. Yeah, it's got a bunch more stuff to be done, right?
yeah, it's got a ton of
atmosphere.
stuff.
Dumpers Depot is actually obviously where you buy and sell a lot of secondhand, scrap materials and stuff like that, used parts, etc. You can get things that are not necessarily in pristine condition or the latest and greatest, but you can get a little bit better prices than you could get at one of the full-blown retail stores. And so Cubby Blast, this is the personal weapons store. This is actually one that we're doing a lot of work on the user interface right now, and that's another thing that we're hoping to deliver with the social module in late March, give or take, which is the full ability to navigate through the inventory selections for the stores. You won't yet likely be able to purchase anything, but you'll be able to get a very good sense of how the interface for browsing and inspecting and finding out basic informational statistics on the weapons works.
Chip or something. And so that's kind of so you don't have to like wheel a cart of weapons out of Cubby Blast.
And that's
it's like they deliver them to you after you've bought it.
And that's actually true for a lot of things. I mean, this is basically the shop where you'll wind up being able to pick up a lot of missions. You'll be able to find out a lot of information in regards to commodity prices. Do we actually have a shot of the outside?
No, not the outside, no.
Basically, this actually doesn't do justice. Come the release of the social module, this is actually one of the more attractive shops I think you're going to see, not just because of what's internal to it, but because you can actually see ships landing, cargo being unloaded, outside. You can see, all of the outside traffic, through this.
Basically, right, this is the combination of the commodity exchange and sort of the mission clearinghouse.
But he likes where you can drink.
Also, some more information about the cargo system came out. So what we've got is kind of a size comparison, some size artwork here, showing you about how big it is. About 2 by 3 by 2 meters for a standard cargo crate from the looks of it. Then they've got sort of these stasis, they call them like stasis chamber kind of things on the inside of the cargo crates, which suspends and freezes the items in the cargo crates in place so they can't move around and get damaged or whatever. And then also they have a system in place so that you can easily move the cargo crates around with these little anti-gravity pads on the edges, or in some cases thrusters. So you can EVA in space, or if you're on a planet, just get out. And Chris talked about a device that you can plug into the cargo crate and just move it like you're flying a ship almost, to arrange it in your ship the way you want, or move it out of your ship and put it down where you want. A really cool system. I can't wait to see this in action. Now what I'd like to talk about is the mobiGlas, and I'll have to be brief. They just released a ton of information on the mobiGlas design. I think it was either today or yesterday on the RSI website. So I'll probably wind up making a completely separate video just for the mobiGlas alone. But what they showed off at PAX South were little mock-up pictures for designs of different app interfaces within the mobiGlas. By now we know that the mobiGlas functions in a way that it's like its own operating system. It's a device that attaches to your wrist, and it has its own operating system, and it's like an iPhone or an Android, or people develop apps for it, and you can download the apps from the in-game stores and then use them on your mobiGlas. And you can shop with your mobiGlas, which is mainly what they're showing off here, and then you can have your friends list. And then another cool thing that the mobiGlas can do is augment reality around you. And there's a cool clip of this, them doing it in Cubby Blast, one of the shops that was shown earlier, and I'll play that clip right now.
Glass stuff. And that's the mobiGlas going into the augmented reality mode. So you can turn your AR mode and it'll sort of show you the indications of stuff. Yes, no, we are gonna do the HoloLens. You're not necessarily gonna do this anymore. We'll have a glass of contacts.
It's still in the mock-up, though.
And the concept with the mobiGlas is that there's going to be all these applications that can be loaded, and some of the applications will be context sensitive. Some of the applications will be things that you would buy and enhance your mobiGlas. So you'd use things for shopping or navigation or managing your friends or talking about missions and stuff.
And this picture shows the third-person view of the mobiGlas. And if you think about it, third person in Star Citizen is true third person, and they even say this at PAX South. This is third person for you, but it's also what other people can see. And notice you can very clearly see what this guy's looking at on his mobiGlas, which adds a really interesting level of gameplay. You can steal information from other people just by looking at their mobiGlas over their shoulder, or you can easily share information with people by just pulling up your mobiGlas and they can see it right there in front of them. So that's really cool. And the mobiGlas Skyline app is apparently compatible with your ship's cockpit, as seen by this video snippet.
And I think the idea is that the planets and everything would all be sort of hollow projected, so it would look better that way. But you'll be able to pull it up when you're navigating in the ship and just determine which planet you want to go to or which waypoint you'd want to go to.
And what I'm about to show you, I think, is one of our first looks at a functioning star map, with the Sol system will kind of be the center of attention here because that's probably what they worked on the most. But yeah, take a look, it's really cool.
And so this would basically represent the galactic map, and you can see every system in the that you can eventually access. You'll eventually be able to get some information in regards to commodity prices, missions that are available just by clicking on the system here. That information may be stale since, as Chris has said in the past, he wanted the concept of information actually taking time to be transmitted across the known galaxy. And so here, this is more representative of what you would actually see within one specific system. And within a specific system, you'll see all of the points of interest that you can bring up and select and engage your quantum drive to actually jump to.
So the last thing we're going to touch on is the information that was dropped about the systems that will be given to us pretty soon to play in, probably at some point this year. That, relatively speaking, that is pretty soon. A few weeks ago, they announced that the first couple systems the first 5 systems that we would be able to play in would be the ArcCorp system, which is the Stanton system, then the Terra system, Nyx, Magnus, and Helios. But then here, they've got Helios, Nyx, and Virgil. I don't know why Virgil is here. They didn't even give any information on it, but yeah, so Nyx, first up. Nyx is a lightly regulated planet where you could be more successful in selling stolen goods or doing other illegal deeds. The compound shown in the picture is built inside of a large crater and was originally a mining colony. Then the mining colony failed and was abandoned, so naturally it was filled up by pirates, squatters, and other sketchy groups of people. Mark Skelton imagines it as a pretty scary place, describing hallways with lights that flicker and you get mugged a lot. Then, like I said, Virgil. This is beautiful concept art, but unfortunately they did not share any real information other than it was in the early concept phase. Then we have Helios, which is Mark Skelton's favorite, I think, according to what he said. He said it's an entirely the planet is entirely covered by ocean, by water, right? It's a total aquatic planet, and the spaceport, or the landing zone, is on a giant floating city with huge walls to keep out the waves. And he says the city is very old, and while you're on the inside, you can see the waves crashing over the top of the walls, which is going to be pretty awesome to experience. Then if you go flying around outside of the walls, there are these giant tsunamis that kind of freak me out, but the concept art is epic. Yeah, so try not to die on Helios from a tidal wave. It would probably be really cool to watch someone else get run over by a tidal wave, but I definitely wouldn't want to be that person.
Maybe some of their weapons will be intact, but the odds are that you've shot their shit up.
Alright, so that's all the juicy information pulled out of hours and hours of video taken from PAX South and condensed into this short little, what is it, like 21.5-minute long video for you guys to enjoy. By the way, we hit $70 million, which is awesome, so bravo to everybody. Thanks for watching my video. If you enjoyed it and found it informative, or perhaps it saved you a lot of time by not having to go watch the other videos, hit the like button and let me know in the comment section anything that could be improved upon, or just how much you liked it. And subscribe to show your support. I'm going to keep pumping news videos out like this right up until the game comes out, and then I'll do news plus gameplay, because that's going to be a lot of fun. Alright, thanks for watching. See you in the verse.